Namaste everyone. Firstly, I want to thank you all for all the support you've given me in the last week. After doing a couple of episodes, I realized it was also very important to give the tools for the trade. So this episode is going to be about essential ingredients that you will need for a South Indian cooking. So I will give you an idea of what you will need in your pantry to cook some of the dishes that I'm making, so it's easier for you as well, and I will also explain a little bit about them, not too much but a little bit. Firstly, let's start with the pepper. You all know pepper. Pepper and pepper powder is a must for Indian cooking. I will be using this for quite a bit of recipes, so just make sure we do have. If you don't have a pepper powder, that's fine, but as long as you have a pepper, that's the most important thing. Chilies, I know there are so many chilies, but just to make it simple, I'm going to show you two varieties of chili. One is the round chilies and the other one is the long ones. These are available in Indian shops, and I will give you a link of the shop in my description box of where to get these stuff from. So if you have either this or that, it doesn't matter. You don't have to have both long and round chilies, but you can have one of them. So just get a bag of any of this stuff. Now, Kashmiri chili powder and hot chili powder are two different things. Kashmiri chili powder has a little bit of spice in it, but a lot of color. Hot chili powder is exactly that. It's hot. It's hot chili powder. So just there is a difference. You cannot substitute hot chili with Kashmiri and vice versa, so you will need to have hot chili powder and Kashmiri chili powder separate. Garam masala powder. Now that is mainly used for stuff like when I use, like mainly towards biryani, or if you're going to use other, I will be showing some recipes that you will have side curries for roti or chapati or puri and things like that. You will need garam masala powder for that. That's not hard to get. You can get that from anywhere. Cumin seeds. Cumin seeds is a must in the South Indian cooking. So that's again, it's available both in powder form and the seed form. Seed form is what I will be using for tempering and everything. So just get the seed form and powder. If you fancy to have a powder form, have that as well. Jaggery. That's pretty much like brown sugar, but jaggery I will be using in some of my South Indian dishes. You may ask, it's a hot dish, but if you add a pinch of jaggery to South Indian dishes, the taste is kind of very nice and it gives a different texture to that dish. So I always have some jaggery in my container. Not only that, you can also make some delicious South Indian desserts with jaggery. It's also very healthy. Coriander seeds, that's another ingredient that we will be using in our cooking. You can actually, coriander seeds, there is another thing, if you actually throw this in a pot, it gives you fresh coriander leaves. Like you can get fresh coriander leaves out of this. And there's a powder version available for that. So coriander and coriander powder. Why do I have turmeric in the middle in a big pot? Turmeric goes in all the dishes, all. Like there is no exception except for the sweets. Turmeric goes into all of my South Indian cooking. You will need some turmeric powder in your spice rack. Okay, we are just moving into the next lot of spice that I'm going to be showing you. So we have fennel seeds. They look similar to cumin seeds, but they're not. They're a bit, if you notice, they're a little bit bigger than cumin seeds, so you will need fennel seeds in your spice box. Curry leaves is another main ingredient. Now, curry leaves, I think a lot of people do have trees, curry trees in Sydney these days. Otherwise, they're available in Indian shops. You can borrow from friends. If you pass by my house, you can always get some from me. What else do we have? Do we have bay leaves? that is also another important one to cook biryani on that. It's also called biryani leaf, by the way. In India we call it biryani leaf, biryani elai we call it, so bay leaf. Then we have the cardamom, of course. Cardamom, we know the use of it, but that's something that it's nice to have in the cupboard. And again, when I start showing some complex recipes and some, you know, biryanis and chicken and lamb and all of that stuff, we will need cardamom in there, cloves and cinnamon. These are all standard items. So just stock up your spice box with all this. And again, you can get a little bit of all these. You don't have to go and buy massive packets of them. These last forever. They last forever. So you can just get a small packet of this and just keep it in your little spice box, and that'll be a nice addition. And so when I show my recipe and say add some cloves or add some fennel seeds and things like that. By the way, there's a fennel seed powder as well. I mean, I don't have that, and you don't need to, but it is also available in the shops these days. So that's another one to keep your minds on. Okay, now you will hear me saying, you know, let's start our tempering. Tempering starts with mustard. So there's your mustard, and yes, it's a must. South Indian cooking has mustard, has tempering in most of our dishes. Just about everything I make is going to have tempering. So as soon as I say tempering, mustard should be there. Methi seeds is also required for, although I don't use it a lot for tempering, but there will be dishes I'll be showing, and yes, it's good to have in the cupboard. This can also be thrown. This is very good. This is Fenugreek, and it's very good for our health. If you throw this in a pot, you will get some Fenugreek leaves from it, and there's some delicious dishes you can make from that, and I'll show that later on. Tamarind. Tamarind comes in like this or in paste. We will be making South Indian dishes have a couple of main items, you know, Sambar and Rasam. In case you haven't heard, Rasam is like a soup. It's very healthy, and there are different varieties of rasam that I will be showing you, and you will need tamarind for all that. Sambar is the same. If you all tried idli in South India, sambar goes with idli. It's a main accomplishment for idli, so we will be requiring tamarind for that. Hing, yes, you will need some hing. It's not called hing in Indian shops. If you notice, it's called asafoetida powder. So it's kind of a different name to it. The brand I use is this. You could have this, and this again lasts forever. So you can just get one box of this and keep it in your cupboard. And when I'm doing my tempering, you will see I'll be using this a bit as well. So just get yourself a box of this as well. Next we are coming to our dals. We have Toor dal. Toor dal is the dal that we will be using to make the traditional dal and dal tadka and everything else, and that is also used for our South Indian sambar and rasam. You're better off just getting half a kilo of this and keeping it, because you will need Toor dal a bit in our cooking. Mung dal is another. It looks a bit smaller, but it's if you don't have Toor dal, generally you can substitute that with Mung dal. The taste is slightly different, but you won't notice it too much. But if you do not have Toor dal, you can have. But I have both in my house, as Mung dal is used for certain dishes. That is only very nice with Mung dal. Urud dal, also spelled Urid, and there is two varieties. You get the full one, and there is a split one as well. Just get the full one and the white one, not the black one. The black one is not used much in South Indian cooking, but the white one is used a lot. So try and get yourself some white urud dal. Split peas or channa dal. Although it looks similar to Toor dal, when I was a kid, I used to get very confused between these two dals because they looked very similar. But when you actually notice it, it's a bit thicker. So Toor dal or channa dal is also, that's also used in my tempering. These two dals will be used a lot in my tempering as well. So try and get that as well. The rasam and sambar that I mentioned, they will need some powders we will need to add some powder. Rasam powder is separate to sambar powder. When we get all very comfortable with our cooking, I can actually show you how to make these powders at home. They're not that hard, but you will need to have some experience. So the rasam powder, it's also available in the Indian grocery shops here. The brand I'm using is 777. They're traditional South Indian company, and it's best to use a South Indian company to make South Indian cooking. So 777 is one of the brands I use, and I'm going to give you a few other brands in my description box that you could go through and get those powders. They tend to taste better in South Indian cooking as opposed to other brands. There's nothing against other brands, it's just these ones are preferred and they taste better. So that's your sambar and your rasam powder. We are now going to do the flour section for our cooking. The 4 kind of flours I have. The rice flour. If you see the rice flour, the color of rice flour is usually very white, and you can get fine, coarse, and different ranges. Stick with just the fine one, and that's what the rice flour is. The next one is the wheat flour. You can see it's a little bit of white. Wheat flour is used to make rotis and chapatis, and sometimes we can even make dosa with that, so I'll be showing that. The other one is the besan flour. Besan flour is nothing but flour from split peas. Besan flour, again, we'll be making some snacks. If you're all used to the bhajis and the pakoras and everything, that's where we will be using the besan flour for. Semolina, we call it rava, and that again is going to be, I will be showing some recipes from using semolina or the rava. I can make a dosa. There's some sweet delicacies that can be made out of semolina as well. So these 4 flour is good to have in your pantry. Oil that we will need for cooking. Of course, you can use any oil you want. Olive oil doesn't generally go very well with South Indian cooking because our cooking spices don't blend very well. That doesn't mean you cannot use. If you like olive oil and if that's the way you like cooking, go for it. Generally, the oil that we use for South Indian, coconut oil, is a big one, and I have it here. You can get them everywhere now. Woolies, Costco, wherever you want, you can get them now. The next one is what we call gingerly oil, nallenai in Tamil. Gingerly oil it is. I use a lot of that for my cooking. The taste of South Indian cooking goes to the extra level if you use that oil, and I'll be using a lot of that. Peanut oil is another one that you can also use for our cooking. So these 3 oil, it's nice to have in your cupboard, and the taste, you will notice the taste will differ. I will be showing which oil I use for which recipe, so I keep a liter of this in my cupboard and I use them as well. Pressure cooker is something that you will need because you will have to boil your dal, and there's a lot of things I'll be asking you to be boiled well and smashed and all that. So pressure cooker is something you will need to have in your kitchen. You can get one from IKEA as well. In addition to the pressure cooker, it's good to have a blender, mortar, and a pestle, the usual stuff that you will need for your normal cooking. Frozen items was something that you get a lot in Indian shops now. Back in the days, it was very difficult. So a couple of things I use all the time, and it's very, very, very handy, is chapati. You get the Kutumba brand chapati. All you have to do is take it from the packet, throw it on your pan, and your chapati is ready. And I'll be teaching you some side dishes for that, and it'll go well. Naan is the same. You get some naan, say, all you have to do is take it out of the packet and off she goes and she's ready. Coconut, grated coconut, yeah, you will be adding some coconut, fresh coconut. If you can break your coconut and get from some fresh coconut, that's great. But if you're in a rush, yes, we get grated coconut in frozen form in Indian shop, and you can just grab a packet and just use that. pickle. Varieties of pickles are available, and of course I buy this brand. You can buy any brand you want. Papadums, everyone loves papadums. Go for it. I've just got this here. That's pretty much it. And a yogurt. If you want to make raita, you'll have to make raita as well. Now all of this I've said is for my audience who has no knowledge or very less knowledge of Indian cooking. This is, if there are experts out there, please ignore all of this, and you're all masters of this. But some of my audience are very new to Indian cooking, especially to South Indian cooking, and I need to make sure that they have the right tools for cooking. So please bear with me on this video. Thank you for watching, guys, and I hope you will go and get some of this stuff. And if you're stuck anywhere, give me a message and I'll get back to you and tell you where to get this stuff. Enjoy South Indian cooking. Thank you.